Hello everyone, I'm Kristen Oaks White.
And I'm Avery Davidson. Thank you for joining us for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, the only TV show bringing Louisiana farmers and consumers together every week. And Kristen, we get to hook up with some of the consumers here in New Orleans at Miel Brewery and Tap Room, which is one of the up-and-coming microbreweries here in the city. We're going to show you a lot more from Miel later in the show, and we might even taste a little bit of it.
But first, we need to tell you why we're in New Orleans to begin with. It's the 97th annual convention of the Louisiana Farm Bureau Federation, and it's the largest gathering of farmers and ranchers in the state. More than 1,000 farmers and ranchers and their families came to conferences for all of the Louisiana commodities, attend the youth events and awards, to see the crowning of the 2019 Louisiana Farm Bureau Queen, and hear the latest of what's going on in Louisiana agriculture.
And you know, with so many people gathered in one place, especially energized voters like farmers and ranchers, you know that elected officials and those seeking office are going to want to come and mingle with those farmers and ranchers. In fact, Governor John Bel Edwards came here to speak before the general session, and U.S. Congressman Ralph Abraham also spoke before the voting delegates, both of them vying for the office of Louisiana governor. What farmers can and cannot do in this field is often determined by the men and women who work and vote in this building. That's why members of the Louisiana Farm Bureau Federation always invite elected officials to speak, either before the 350 or so voting delegates or the nearly 500 members who gather for the general session.
To say that ag and forestry is the backbone of Louisiana's economy is an absolute understatement.
Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards is running for re-election. He brought good news for these farmers and ranchers in response to a concern Edwards heard while visiting farms.
Over the next 3 years, the state of Louisiana will invest $90 million more than the normal program on rural farm-to-market bridges. So we heard what you said.
Edwards says that money will come from the $700 million infrastructure plan the legislature recently approved. Commissioner of Agriculture and Forestry, Dr. Mike Strain, is also running for re-election and spoke about infrastructure, most notably the dredging of the Mississippi River project included in President Donald Trump's infrastructure plan.
This is a big deal, the largest capital investment in Louisiana history. Mostly federal dollars.
Strain says that project will start in October.
The first part of the project is going to be head of passes. We're going to dredge that down another 5 feet to at least 50 feet, and the next goal is 55, build 2,000 acres of wetlands. We're going to dredge the Mississippi River all the way to Baton Rouge to 50 feet. What does that mean? That means we can load those ships another 5 feet. That's $1 million of cargo per ship.
We've got your back.
Louisiana 5th District Congressman Ralph Abraham is also running for governor. He brought an update to the $16 billion market facilitation program the USDA announced to help farmers across the country who are seeing depressed prices due to trade issues between the United States and China.
Some of the MFP payment will come in July, some will come in September, and then some will come later in the fall. So something, again, we will watch closely, we will monitor, maybe some more relief for not only our soybean farmers, but for our other crops too. So hopefully that's going to come to fruition.
Louisiana Farm Bureau President Ronnie Anderson says it's not unusual to find elected officials at the annual convention, especially in an election year like this one.
They know that we have a presence in every parish. We have our parish offices, we have our board of directors that are out there. We've got a group of people in Farm Bureau that vote. They're concerned about what's going on, and they just don't talk about issues. They will actually work on, campaigns or for or against whatever might be going on, and they get out and vote. And that's what really makes us different than a lot of other organizations that just talk about, complain or whatever it might be, but our folks get out and vote.
Now, Governor Edwards and Congressman Abraham were not the only gubernatorial candidates in attendance at the 97th Annual Convention of the Louisiana Farm Bureau. Eddie Risponi, a businessman from Baton Rouge, was also there. He's running for governor, and he had a chance to meet with folks while they were at caucus.
The guests we just talked about, like Governor Edwards and Congressman Abraham, are not the only ones interacting with farmers in New Orleans this week. The same thing happens at Miel and places like this all across the city every single week.
Here at Miel, farmer Kate Estrada is bringing the bounty of the farm right to the neighborhood. Many of these products come from local cooling farms, which is operated by Kate and her husband, Grant. but they're also bringing their neighbors' products to this food hub.
And now we're also reselling up to 12 other farms per week, because while there is the people that grow their own tomatoes, then there's other people that just don't have time for any of that, but they want local food. And so if we can offer veggies and bread and fermented veggies and dairy and poultry along with our pork and beef and goat and eggs, then everyone's happy, more of a one-stop shop.
Karen Ward is one of those happy customers. She's been getting her groceries from Kate at Laughing Buddha for more than a year now.
Yeah, so I've moved here about a year and a half ago. Obviously in New Zealand, we have lots of farmers markets, so I was pleased to see, I think, first of all on the Irish Channel Facebook group that came through. But you get the emails on a Saturday, easy to fill out the form, and then it's great to talk to Kate as she comes down here, and you know what's in season.
What's always in season for Kate is building relationships with the customers like Karen that take her food to feed their families.
Oh God, I mean, that's my favorite thing. Like, I love the animals, like I love being on the farm, but like meeting the customers, like, and tell them how to cook her, you know, sirloin tip, like how to stir fry it. It's super fun. So for me, that's like a huge reason why we do what we do, and it is like the most fun part of the whole thing. And especially people like Karen, it's like she's been buying from me for over a year, maybe a year and a half or so, and she gets a lot of stuff, and so it's like, how cool is that? It's like one of the most sacred things to be able to feed someone's family.
Karen says that connection is something you just can't find at big box stores. For her, knowing the farmer that puts the food on her table and even the story behind that food is priceless.
I mean, I think the farmers care about what they're making. You know, as I said, there's always a story on the email about where things have come from as well, so it's not just a nameless packet. I mean, I love seeing you every couple of weeks, and especially now that we're based here at a local brewery. I mean, it means you can grab a beer and that kind of stuff. It's convenient to the neighborhood where we live as well, so really good.
I'm Carl Wiggers for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture.
To find out more about the Farm Hub pop-ups that happen all across the city, just log on to our website at twilatv.org.
So we are at one of the places where small farms actually meet the big city. And just like any other agricultural industry, Meal Brewery and Taproom is dependent upon those small farms. In fact, to make this beer right here, they're dependent upon some of the smallest workers around. The golden flows from the taps at Miel Brewery and Taproom owe a lot to the golden liquid made by these bees. Miel means honey in French and Spanish. For Alex Peru, it also means life.
100% of our beer sold right now is coming right out these taps right here in this room.
An experienced brewer from time spent working for Abita and Harpoon breweries, Peru took inspiration from his father's veterinary clinic and some of the smallest animals there.
I grew up with an observation beehive at the clinic.
I have observation windows in almost every hive body.
His father, Dale Peru, still likes to watch bees. While he sold his practice about 10 years ago, Dale is still working to save animals, rescuing bees from fallen trees and old homes set for demolition.
I'm not really into it for the honey. It's always going to be a secondary thing, but my goal was to rescue hives that are wild.
That said, Dale still gets lots of honey. Honey he gives to his son Alex to make beer.
Every bag of honey from each different parish tastes so different, and it lends its own quality. That's why when we make a beer with that honey, we say which parish it came from.
I've done some rescues in different areas, so he likes to mention where the honey is from. I did one in Kentwood. The next batch we're cleaning up right now or filtering is from Springfield. And then, of course, we have our own honey that we can produce too.
Knowing exactly where the bees are coming from, knowing exactly how it all ties into the ecology and how you can actually taste that in the beer, in the final product, is awesome.
So the beer is very distinct in taste.
Rick Patel owns Mid-Tap, a self-service tap room in Baton Rouge. He enjoys coming here with his family, but looks forward to the day when he does not have to travel so far to get that distinct taste of Miel beer.
I would love to carry Alex's product.
By hearing the immediate feedback of people from when they come and enjoy our beer, it's huge. It's like and I'm brewing on such small volumes that it's easy for me to be able to tweak it. If someone doesn't like something about a beer and I didn't like it, I can take that out. I can change it right now.
Getting immediate feedback may take some pressure off of Alex. But what about his dad and his beekeeping hobby?
It almost puts pressure on me because I'm enjoying the heck out of it. I've been doing it for like 4 or 5 years now, so I really enjoy the heck out of it. But gee, if all of a sudden I decided I don't want to do this anymore, it's a little pressure because I got to keep going now because I have to supply the honey.
And right here in my hand is the fruit of all that labor from the bees and from the folks here at Meal. Now, this is called mellifera. That's the name of the beer, but it's also the Latin name for bees. It's why they named it that, because there is honey in this beer, and you can definitely taste that there's something different about it. Alex says that's because yeast devours sugar different ways depending upon what kind of sugar it is, and since there's honey in this one, it gives it a very refreshing flavor. Now, if you'd like to learn more about Meal Brewery and Taproom, log on to our website at twilatv.org.
New Orleans is close to the Gulf of Mexico, and it's actually a whole lot closer than you might think. This week, TWILA's Neil Melanson takes us on an airboat to see what some are doing to keep those Gulf waters out of the Crescent City.
One of the best ways to see Louisiana is from an airboat, giving you fast access to the natural treasures of this bayou state. Today, this group of scientists and coastal restoration experts are headed out to see the Carnarvon freshwater diversion. Opened in 1991, this structure accidentally created land in what was previously open water.
We've seen about 800 acres of land building out here, and colonized by native species, and so a thriving kind of marsh ecosystem.
You might remember I visited with Dr. Henkel back in the spring in the Maurepas area to look at replanting efforts on the ground there and by air. Well, this is what it could look like 10 years later.
We know this area is really good. The ones we've planted, we have about 75% survival rate, and our growth rates are really good out here. So we know it's a great area to reforest, so we're trying to do that faster.
Howard Callahan is the land manager for Big Mar, a private property just south of Carnarvon that has seen new economic life since the freshwater diversion created this new land.
We have duck hunting leases, and we have alligator hunts, and we collect alligator eggs, and all of that has increased and gotten a lot better since we have the outflow, put fresh water in here.
The farm's making money, the landowners are making money, and the species is thriving. So it's a good win-win-win. But the population has gone way up out here. So for example, Big Mar is highly regulated how many nests you can take. Big Mar in 1995 had 8 nests, Howard, right? Yeah, they had 8, and now they're up to 33.
From the air, you can see the skyline of New Orleans in the distance. This area, just 20 miles from downtown, saw 18 feet of water during Hurricane Isaac.
So we don't restore swamp just to restore swamp. It's a great habitat, but it's also part of our multiple lines of defense strategy, which is trying to get as many bumps on the landscape to protect people from storm surge, both natural and man-made. So swamp forest is great at deflecting storm surge, and it does great in the wind as well. The trees don't blow over.
As we left Big Mar, we saw a rare species coming back in this area, the American yellow lotus. This beautiful flower growing up from the muck seems like the perfect symbol for the regeneration that benefits all.
Now, there are more of these freshwater diversions in the works, but opening them up will have a significant impact on fisheries like shrimp and oysters. So many of those folks are asking for more time and some financial help. And Kristen, as you saw in the package, you could see the skyline of New Orleans from that Big Mar area, where during Hurricane Isaac there was more than there was 18 feet of water. And so a lot of these folks are just, I mean, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't be comfortable with that much water so close to the town I lived in.
I think, we live in Louisiana, and when you get to see it from a perspective like you did, you don't quite understand how quickly that coastline is slowly disappearing. So It's a really interesting story, Neil. Coming up after the break, beware of sharks. Rob Sharkey took a bite out of the social media conference at the 97th Annual Louisiana Farm Bureau Federation Convention.
But first, we're putting Louisiana agriculture on the map. Stay with us.
As we've already shown you, there were some high-profile guests at the 97th annual meeting of the Louisiana Farm Bureau Federation, but it's also where commodity groups got together to discuss issues that they were facing on their farms.
And something else that was going on that was a big hit was the Ag in the Classroom Conference. It was there that the Ag in the Classroom Committee unveiled a brand new digital commodity map that is sure to be a big hit. Vermilion Parish Ag teacher Jamie Lee says she's going to use it in her classroom.
So we unveiled the new commodity map today at the Ag in the Classroom workshop at the Farm Bureau Convention, and this commodity map reflects the 2017 data values, and it has an interactive online part, which is really neat because teachers can go online in their classrooms and click on each commodity. It tells them how it's produced, where it's produced. Most of them are going to include short videos of the production, as well as recipes with that commodity, vocabulary words with that commodity, sometimes even workshops. So it's really beneficial for teachers. It is so important now more than ever, just because so many people have all these misconceptions about how their food is produced or where it even comes from. So for us to be able to start with students at such a young age, or even all the way up through high school, and show them really where their farmers are working, how they're producing these different commodities, and just what their state has to offer. Because as I said, many students, or sometimes even adults, don't even realize the vast majority of commodities that we do produce here in Louisiana. And to have Farm Bureau be at the forefront of that and pushing this information out to the public and making it accessible to teachers, it's awesome.
To learn more about the Louisiana Farm Bureau Ag in the Classroom program, head over to our website at twilatv.org.
Rob Sharkey encouraged farmers and ranchers to share their experience and their knowledge with consumers at the social media conference at the 97th annual meeting of the Louisiana Farm Bureau. Sharkey, also known online as the Shark Farmer, shared how financial troubles nearly ruined his career and ultimately set him on a journey to define who he was as a farmer and as a person. The Shark Farmer explained the role social media played in launching his success. He said it can also be a powerful tool to help farmers and ranchers share their story with consumers.
Yeah, a rapidly growing group of farmers and ranchers are really following Sharkey on his podcast and also listening to him daily on Sirius XM 147 Rural Radio for his daily radio show. To listen to recordings of the radio show and the podcast, go over to our website at twilatv.org.
Well, during the 97th annual meeting of the Louisiana Farm Bureau Federation, members recognized the accomplishments of individual farmers and ranchers, farm families, and parish farm bureaus every year.
The highest honor a parish farm bureau can receive is the President's Trophy. This year marked a three-peat win for Rapides Parish. Parish President Bill Cheek accepted the award from President Ronnie Anderson.
You really have to take advantage of it when you have the right people on the board. And for a long time, we didn't have any young farmer and ranchers. We didn't have Ag in the Classroom leader. We have those now, and so we've really taken advantage of that, and we appreciate everybody and all of the work that they do.
This year's Young Farmer and Rancher Achievement Award winners are Adam and Megan Colhern of Caddo Parish. The Colherns are first-generation farmers who raise cattle and hay, who also run a custom cotton picking, trucking, and crop spraying business. The couple receives a $35,000 cash award courtesy of Southern Farm Bureau Casualty Insurance Company. They'll also receive $1,500 in rentals from H&E Equipment, an all-expense-paid trip to the 2020 American Farm Bureau Convention, 1 year's use of an agriculture weather station courtesy of DTN, as well as several other cash prizes.
Like I've said before, it's a team effort, you know, and drawing together as a family is one of the crucial things that you have to do when you're operating a farm, and we're only going to grow from here, so that'll be great.
Hannah Duvall won the 2019 Young Farmers and Ranchers Excellence in Agriculture Award. Duvall works as a 4-H agent in St. Martin Parish. The award recognizes leadership and involvement in agriculture. Duvall received several prizes, including a $7,500 credit toward the purchase of an ATV from Louisiana Land Bank.
Megan Cook of Sabine Parish was named the Outstanding Young Farm Woman for 2019. She received a $2,000 Visa gift card, compliments of Louisiana Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company, $1,500 worth of equipment rentals from H&E Equipment, along with a host of other prizes.
Cody Beavers of Franklin Parish won this year's discussion meet. Beavers received a host of prizes for his victory, including a John Deere Gator utility vehicle, courtesy of the Southern Farm Bureau Life Company, $1,500 worth of equipment rentals from H&E Equipment, as well as other cash prizes.
Sarah Toll of Rapides Parish took home the top prize in the Talk Meat competition, and in her speech, Toll discussed various solutions to help the agriculture industry bridge the gap between producers and consumers.
We can continue to work towards translating agricultural policies and other acts of legislation, such as the Farm Bill and the recent Truth in Labeling Act, and translating them into languages that the everyday citizen, like myself, can understand and relate to.
A host of young talent was on full display this week during the 97th Annual Louisiana Farm Bureau Convention. Allie Zarang of Assumption Parish danced her way to the top prize in the Junior Talent Division with her lyrical dance routine. Point Capee Parish violinist Lily Martinez took home first place in the Senior Division, performing the uplifting tune, Love's Joy.
And of course, the culmination of the Farm Bureau Convention is the crowning of a new Louisiana Farm Bureau Queen. Victoria Roussel of Vermilion Parish will serve as the 2019 Louisiana Farm Bureau Queen. She'll travel the state and to Washington, D.C., representing the state's largest general farm organization. First runner-up was Sarah Toll of Rapides Parish. Second runner-up was Caroline Doise of Jeff Davis Parish, and all of the contestants voted Grace Fife of Franklin Parish as Miss Congeniality.
Congratulations to all of the winners at this year's convention. If you would like to see live streams of all of these events, go over to our website at twilatv.org. Still to come on TWILA, water is a big issue here in Louisiana, and we're going to talk a little bit about it.
We'll show you why we sweat every drop coming up after this.
One of the big topics at the 97th Annual Convention of the Louisiana Farm Bureau Federation was water. Too much of it, not enough of it, what to do with it, all of great concern.
Well, however much of a problem it is for us, for farmers, it's life and death. But it also brings us together in a special way. We would like to end the show by showing you a video that we aired at convention, and it shows the impact of water one drop at a time.
We are all bound by something. Some by past deeds, some by family responsibilities, others by dreams of future glory. The earth is a table that farmers dress, set in rows and eat the harvest of. But even the earth's vast expanse is bound, surrounded by the water so necessary to all life. Louisiana farmers know its value, the fickle mistress that taunts their days. On the east, the Mississippi surges on to the Gulf. Levees swell with heavy rains, threatening to fail. Spring rains and melted snows flow ever southward into our rivers, creeks, and land. There is danger in her depths, so we fear that old man river. We Louisianians know that life-bringing water, when in excess, can be treacherous, destroying crops and homes and lives. We curse it softly, not wanting to anger God. For always we know that the dry days of July may usher in the drought of August, a time when soft rains are answered prayers, when fields are bound by white rivers of hope, hope for better crops and bigger yields. Yes, we Louisianians have a love for the land, but we are tied to its waters. As children, we dance in summer showers, swim in wide lakes, fish for food and pleasure. Our livings require the rain, but our souls find in the rivers, lakes, and Gulf waters a peace that soothes each day. So for us, there is always conflict. We fight its floods, yet need the water's rain. And in the end, we pray for God to control the excess and to send our souls rain.